Let's talk about research. Organization is the key to successful research. Develop an organizational method for research which works for you. Here are some ideas. Dedicate a small notebook to the essay you're writing. Keep all notes, copies, and ideas in this notebook. Use a pack of note cards to stay organized. Consider categorizing the cards by sources, point being expressed, and type of paragraph. For example, do you want to put it in your body paragraph or maybe in the introduction? An Excel spreadsheet works well if you have a tablet or laptop that will accompany you to the library. Open a new sheet in the spreadsheet for each source and label it accordingly. For each source that you research, be sure to record important information. Use your notebook, cards, or spreadsheet to develop a master list. This information will be necessary later to create the Works Cited page. Make notes on the following: the titles and call numbers of reference materials or books found in a library, the complete URL, title, and date of access of each website, authors, editors, and translators for each work, titles, database, and date of access for each journal article used in the essay. Now, call numbers and the complete URL are no longer required by MLA. However, if you misplace this information and you need to return to those sources, the call numbers and the URL will come in very handy. Copy or print out anything you might use in your essay. Book chapters, articles, websites, and then annotate them as you read. Record your questions, reactions, and ideas in the margins. Comment in the margins on ideas that agree or disagree with your ideas. Try to summarize or paraphrase a difficult passage to make sure you comprehend the material. Highlight any statements that are important to your thesis or argument. Make sure that your copies include the necessary information to create the work cited: the title of the book, periodical, or website in which the chapter, article, or page appears. For books, you will need the city of publication, the publisher, and the date of publication, and, if applicable, the edition or volume numbers. For articles, you need the date of publication and the page numbers, and again, if applicable, the issue and volume numbers. For websites, you need the date you accessed the site and the date the website was last updated. In addition to copying, most journal articles can be emailed or downloaded to your personal computer for a permanent record of that article. Each potential source should be evaluated to determine whether it is relevant and reliable. A source is relevant if it pertains to your research topic. A source is reliable if it provides trustworthy information. Evaluating sources requires you to think critically and make judgments about which sources will be useful to your research. To decide if the source is relevant, examine the following criteria. The titles. Does the title or subtitle address your topic? The publication date. When was it published? If you are writing about smoking laws, for example, chances are that they were different in 1920 versus 2010. The subheadings. Are there subheadings? Do they suggest available information you may need? Is there an abstract? An abstract provides a summary of the article. This tool often saves hours of reading long articles that have no relevance to your topic. To decide if a source is reliable, examine the following criteria. The writer's credentials. Is this person an expert in the field? What about the publisher? Is it reputable? Do they have an agenda? Credit. Is there a works cited page or bibliography where the writer lists his sources? And what about the work? Is it balanced in tone, or do you detect a bias? Caution should be used when evaluating internet sources. Anyone can design a web page that looks authoritative but contains poor information. You must question every source, but you should be especially wary of internet sources and question their validity. When you quote from an online source, there is no real guarantee that the material you're quoting originated with that site. In other words, the person who created the website might have plagiarized. If you use facts or quote from a site that has not quoted or properly cited its sources, you are also guilty of plagiarism. So here are several questions you may ask to determine reliability for internet sources. Is the author an authority on the subject? Is the author named? If not, why? Is there a reason for the author to keep his identity hidden? The website may have several writers on staff. If the writer of the source is a staff writer, how do you determine credentials? Is the information presented on the site factual? Does the site update often? Does it provide links to the evidence? Is the website affiliated with an organization or a sponsor? If so, is there an intended audience? Does the organization have a specific purpose? Is the site biased toward that agenda? Does the site attempt to sell or promote anything? Run from those. How does the information address your topic? Does it present a clear logical argument? Is it grammatically correct? If it's not, that's also a sign to run. If there are links to other sources available, do they even work? How trustworthy are those sources? So how do you use all this research you've gathered? Well, there are 3 ways to incorporate research into your essay: quotes, paraphrases, and summaries. Be sure that you clearly indicate whether you are quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing in your research notes. Let's talk about quotations. A direct quote is a keyword, phrase, or sentence that is written exactly like the original text. Quotations should be used when you want to quote a known expert or when the quotations express exactly what you want to say. Direct quotations should be introduced, placed in quotation marks, and documented. And here's an example. One noted historian states, quote, "The invaders gave up their nomadic and semi-nomadic habits to lead settled lives," end quote, speed 6. Now, your essay should not be color-coded, but I wanted to show you. Here is the introductory part. One noted historian states. Then we have the quote in gold, also in quotation marks, and then you can see my in-text citation, citing speed 6. Quotations are evidence, and they should be followed by analysis. Do not string together a series of quotes without explanation of the importance of the quote. This also means that a quote should not end a body paragraph. Review your body paragraph structure PowerPoint if you need assistance with this. When you consider quoting, ask yourself, which point of mine does this quotation illustrate? Why am I considering quoting this passage? Why should this particular passage be quoted rather than paraphrased? And what do I need to tell the reader about the author of the quotation? Do I need his name? Do I need to give the occupation? Here's an example. Historian Peter Speed believed, or Dr. Martin Luther King once argued. Now, here's something you need to know. The first time you introduce a source that you're going to use throughout your essay, you need to give his full name, such as historian Peter Speed. But once you've introduced that source, you no longer have to continue calling him Peter Speed, Peter Speed, Peter Speed. Now you can just move on to saying Speed believed, or, of course, King argued. Paraphrases are very helpful. To paraphrase a section of research, put the information into your own words. A paraphrase is usually shorter and less detailed than the original. When paraphrasing, use a different sentence structure than the original. Since the ideas are not yours, you must give the original source credit to avoid plagiarism. Here's an example. Rewriting a passage of work into a shorter version is paraphrasing. Dennis, 15. I just cited myself. Yes, I did. Here are a few hints. Understand the material before attempting to paraphrase. Put the original away while paraphrasing to avoid possible plagiarism. Just changing a few words is not paraphrasing. Use your own sentence structure and phrasing to share the information. You can also use a summary. A summary states the main idea of the passage and condenses a larger quantity of work into a short version. You must give credit to the original author of the work, of course. Make sure you understand what the author is saying before you summarize or paraphrase. Here's an example. Summarizing provides an abbreviated main point. Dennis, 15. Here's a little warning. Any words or phrases specific to the author that are repeated in a summary or paraphrase must be placed in quotation marks. Good luck with your research.